welcome back to another episode. This is a sneaky extra exclusive episode, not on Patreon, just on here. But yeah, we thought we would film some must-haves on the road, so we've compiled a list of 15 things. Bear in mind, this list is just for people that are traveling like ourselves. So if you have a caravan, this list might apply to you, but there are some things that might not. And likewise, if you're just sort of traveling in your everyday all-wheel drive or whatever you've got. So yeah, bear in mind that this is for our type of car, our style of traveling, and the list that we've got. So we'll just take turns going through and talking about what we've got on here. If there's something that sort of suits one of us better to talk about, we'll just go from there. I'll give the list to Kev and he can make a start.
Righto, first up we've got NY Towel Co, which is, I found this at the four-wheel drive show at Lardner Park. They're a company that make towels that dry really quick and sand doesn't stick to them at all. Like, you can literally lay it on the sand, pick it up, and all the sand falls off. And yeah, obviously the bonus of having it dry really quick is really great when you're out travelling because you don't have to wait around for a towel to dry. Obviously it's probably not a must-have. You can have normal towels. It's just we only use that, and we could use that 4 times a week, and it dries that quick so it doesn't smell or anything.
They're honestly so quick to dry, and not sponsored or anything. Kev just found them and they're brilliant. So we have 2 full-size adult towels, one for each of us, and then we also have a tea towel, and they are honestly brilliant.
Yeah, the tea towel's great.
Alright, number 2 we have, which is one of our biggest one, is a jet boil. So I actually bought Kev a jet boil for his birthday, and they're not cheap. They're not the most expensive thing, but they're not cheap. But I honestly swear on my life, it is probably the most important thing that we have on this trip. Hot coffee, you can make gravy, anything that you want, you can make using that jet boil. They also do a jet boil stove. We don't have the stove, we just have the 1 litre container that does like coffees and stuff. But honestly, it is the most incredible thing, and the most, like, whoever came up with that is a genius. It is so quick and easy to use. It takes little storage and it lasts forever. We have had 1 gas cylinder since the day we left. We've used it every day, sometimes multiple times a day, and it's still going. Yeah. Honestly worth the money and definitely worth having. We love our jet boil.
You can do, like, you could cook soup in it, you can do gravy, you can do noodles, you can make cuppers. And it's a big, like, 1 litre jar, I think brilliant. It is. So it heats up a lot of water real quick.
Yeah.
Next one is obviously a gas cooker. Like, you're not going to really be able to, I suppose, if you live a terrible diet and just eat snacks or something that doesn't require cooking, I don't know, sandwiches or something, then you'll obviously get by, but a gas cooker definitely helps. Like, you got to have a gas cooker, you got to have a warm meal every now and then, you got to have nice veggies and stuff like that. So
I think especially too, like, caravan parks are so expensive nowadays. It's an average of $40 for an unpowered site, and caravan parks most of the time have a kitchen in, like, their amenities that you can use. So it's all well and good if you're staying at caravan parks, but yeah, $40 every day is just something that we can't fathom spending. So we only go to caravan parks if we have to, or if we can fit it in our budget. Yeah, definitely having a gas cooker is worthwhile. All right, the next one is a given. It's a fridge. We did have an ARB. What was it called? An ARB...
Elements fridge, I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
One of the big stainless ones, 60 litre.
One of the ones that you sort of put on like a drop-down slide for like a tray or a tub or whatever. We actually did a clean swap with someone back in Victoria, and we got the Bushman's 80 litre? 90 litre? 85 litre in the middle. Upright fridge, and it's brilliant. My only complaint is that the freezer is quite small, but in saying that, it does fit a lot in there. We often have it stocked full of bait and things. It does fit a fair bit in there, and yeah, a good working fridge, you just can't, you can't put a price on that. Like, you need a reliable fridge, you need a really good fridge that's going to work.
Especially in this heat and humidity.
Yeah,
you definitely need a good fridge, one that won't overheat and just shut down on you.
Yeah, for sure.
Next one, obviously we have a patrol, so I'd written down the Patrol Australia table, which is a table that bolts up to the rear barn door, but basically, for anyone that's travelling, just a normal sturdy table. You're going to use it nearly every time you pull up, I reckon, because you make lunch on it, or you put a chair next to it, you put all your phones and accessories, whatever you want. You put your coffee on it.
Play Uno.
Yeah, play Uno. Yeah. So yeah, table is obviously a given.
And there's so many YouTube videos, like there's some people that I'm following on Instagram at the moment, and they have troopies and they make their own just with things out on the internet that have templates. So there's people out there that have templates already made. Just do your research, find something that works for your car or your vehicle and go with that.
Yep.
The next one is our rooftop tent. So obviously, look, we're not sponsored by Outbacteria, but if Outbacteria want to sponsor us, we won't say no. It is brilliant. So recently, I think Kev already talked about this, we went through a minor tropical cyclone and that thing held up. The only thing that happened was the tent poles in the back flew out of it and bent a little bit at the bottom. That's it. The winds would have been 120 kilometres. Rainfall was huge, and that's the only thing that went wrong. The comfiest tent I've ever been in, the slimmest design, because Kev was really worried about adding height to his car. It's already high with the lift that's in it. We were going to go with something like the Bush Company. It's quite popular, but it was just too high for us. And the Outbacteria was the next best thing. And honestly, I'm so glad we got that over anything else. It is incredible. And even price-wise compared to other tents.
Like, they're not a budget tent.
No,
but a Bushwhacker or a Bush Company, you paid, I think they're about $5,500 for, whereas the Outbacteria's, that one when I bought it was $3,500 delivered to Victoria, and that was from Mackay, I'm pretty sure. So,
and for something that you're going to be sleeping in every day, I think it's something that you need to spend the money on, and something in that medium sort of playing field is good. And it has the luxuries as well. Like, it has a USB port down the side that has like a cigarette lighter, like a cigarette socket. It has USB holders in there. It has lights that go all around the outside of the tent, so it's almost like little fairy lights. It has little pockets in it. I know a lot of rooftop tents do, but it has a clear pocket in the middle that we often slide our phone into that you could watch. If you had an iPad, it would be even better, but it's honestly brilliant. Easy to set up, easy to put down. I rate it. Couldn't rate it enough.
Obviously, you don't need that, like if you're just doing a couple trips and that here and there, but if you're definitely going to the top end where there's crocs and or even some dingoes and that, I know people don't like staying in swags when there's dingoes, so, and if you got a van you don't need one because you just sleep in the van. So next one is a good 12 volt system, or at least a good battery to run your fridge, and well, that's probably all you're going to run. I know, like, we've got inverters and that, but you don't need that if you're going away, if you're not filming and all that sort of stuff. You don't need to charge laptops or whatever. So yeah, a good 12 volt system helps. Like, obviously solar as well, because there's a lot of sun in Australia, so it definitely helps, keeps the battery topped up. But yeah, good 12 volt system.
We did talk about the 12 volt system at the start, so if you have a look at, I think it was one of our first YouTube videos, Kev talks a little bit about the 12 volt system he's put in, so make sure you go and watch that if you're interested on what we've used. Next one is a water tank. So I remember this argument before we left, and I said to Kev, like, we're running tight on money, we've got a wedding to pay for, we also want to save money for a house when we get back home, like, we can't afford these things, like, that's a luxury. And to be honest, like, I'm actually really glad we've got it. So we've got a 50 litre tank in the car, we've also got a 20 litre on the back, and Kev has put a pump in the car as well that obviously pumps the 50 litres in the back, and then we just got a garden hose from Bunnings and a shower head attachment, or like one of those hose attachments with like the jet,
your normal garden
all
hose.
The garden hose stuff, and it's so good, like, especially after a day on the beach, like, you can just rinse your feet off, you can have a shower at the back of the car. Yes, it's not hot, and I did think about putting like a solar heating shower type of system on here, but you don't need it. It's a luxury. Like, it's a hot shower is a luxury. It's hot everywhere here. To be honest, get over it. Just have a cold shower. Like, it's good if, like, that probably sounds really rude. I don't mean it to be rude, but it's a luxury. You don't have to have a hot shower, but definitely having running water and a pump in the back of your car is, definitely worthwhile. And there's been times where we're completely off grid. Like now, we have no reception, no water, no nothing, and having that topped up is really good.
Refreshing as well.
Alright, so the next one I'm going to talk about again, only because I did most of it inside the car, and then I'll let Kev talk about the back of it, but storage. It's a given. You need storage when you're going around, especially for a lap around Australia. To be honest, I hummed and ahed about making things. I looked at so many different setups, and I just found drawers at Kmart. So once again, if you want to see the setup, we have done a video on that already. It's one of our earlier videos, so just have a look for that. But yeah, Kmart drawers, I think it wasn't the most cost efficient thing, but it wasn't that expensive really when you think about it, and you can reuse them. So when we get home, we can take that whole thing out, and if we go off grid for
shed,
put it in a shed, or if we go off grid, we can just put it all back in. Like, it's not that hard to put in or take out. It's pretty easy, and it has given us so much storage. You can fit so much in those drawers. It's absolutely fantastic, and I'll let Kev talk about the back of the car.
Basically, in the back of the car, we got is, if you watch that video with the 12-volt system. I'm pretty sure we fill in the back anyway.
Yeah.
You just need a drawer for cooking utensils and probably like food, like canned stuff and all that. And then, I don't know, maybe something like bread just to keep it out of the sun, because bread sucks when it goes in the sun. It sweats and then it moulds like within that day. So you don't need a lot of storage, but it definitely helps having a lot, because you don't have to strategically stack everything to make it all fit. You can just chuck it in, close the drawer, and then pull up, and you don't have to move heaps of shit to get it out. You just grab whatever you want. Next one is, I need one, but
Oh, this one is for when we said at the start. This is for people that are traveling like us. So keep that in mind.
yeah, a fishing rod. So I think this week we spent $46 on groceries because we obviously got that much fish.
It's our lowest week on groceries, which is great. Yeah.
Yeah, I think $100 if you include alcohol. Bought a slab, but yeah, a fishing rod. I'm not saying you need to go out and catch your food every night, but you pull up somewhere like this even, and there's a little river here, and there is little fish in here. We did see some yesterday, but you can literally just pass the time by just casting a lure. And if you're not good at it, you spend all that time practicing. You might lose a couple. We've lost heaps. I lose freaking surf rigs all the time. Just is what it is.
And it is an extra cost. Like, it's a bit of an expensive hobby by the time you're paying for sinkers all the time. But if you catch your food on it, that's a bonus. Like, we've caught that many meals using the fishing rod that without it, we would have spent more at the grocery shops than we have on sinkers and things.
100%.
So, and we've had so much fun doing it.
Yeah, it's good fun. Like, if you're into fishing, then it is great fun to catch a fish, especially good, decent fish. Like,
And most fishing rods fold down. They take bugger all storage.
Yeah. Yeah, I just take the reels off mine and just keep them as a whole stick. I don't split them in half, and then just tie them to the grab handles up on the roof of your car, and that's it. It just sits there out of the way, and then you put the reel in a little box and
Bob's your dad.
Yeah.
Next one is recovery tracks. Haha. So we were lucky enough to get gifted a set of recovery tracks for our wedding from our friends at home, and we went and bought another set after our little mishap, which is also a video on that if you haven't seen it. That's one of our more viewed videos, so I'm sure people have seen it. Yeah, you can't go anywhere without recovery tracks. Like, you really need them. It can get dangerous. Like, people have lost their cars in the surf. People have, we're going up to the old tally track in the next coming weeks, and stuff like that. Like, you have to have recovery boards. Yes, they're expensive. They're not cheap.
You can get cheap ones though.
Yeah, you can. Even in saying that though, like, I don't know, cheap for a boy and cheap for a girl are two different things. Like, from a girl's perspective, I looked at those boards. I think we paid $350, was it, for the set that we bought? I reckon it was in the threes. I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway, but I was like, what the hell? Like, to me, that's 2 fishing rods. Like, I would rather spend my money on fishing rods. Anyone that knows me knows I love my fishing, and I just looked at that and saw 2 fishing rods and was like, oh, I don't want to. Like, we could spend get so much more for that.
It's a lot of cartons.
But at the end of the day, we also spent $2,000 on a clutch because we didn't have the right knowledge to start off with. But also, probably it would have helped if we have bought an extra set of recovery tracks. We're just very grateful that we had that first set in the first place. So yeah, recovery tracks definitely a must.
Not only do they help with recovering, but if you have a rooftop tent or a van, you can slide them under your wheels to level your tent out, or wherever you're sleeping. Like, there's been heaps of times where we take them off and just put 2 under one wheel just to pick that wheel up a little bit. Saves you digging a hole, or saves you driving around the campsite like an idiot looking for the flat spot.
Yep.
Next one is Bushman's / Aerogard, or
Rid.
insect repellent. The flies are bad, but there is a lot of spots where you find places like this where there's water beds, and the mozzies just absolutely smash you. Like, I reckon the first 3 weeks in South Australia, my feet, because I only wore thongs, were just absolutely peppered with mozzie bites.
Yeah, definitely. And I think on the back of that, I'm just going to say insect repellent / first aid kit.
Yeah,
you
true.
definitely need a first aid kit that has all that stuff in it. Has your snake bite stuff, has your, like, I burnt Kev's toe with a marshmallow the other week, and we used Burns cream. Like, you just need all that stuff in there. Like, there's no hospital here. We're hours away from a hospital. Like, if something happens, you need to be able to treat it, and definitely have a first aid kit with that stuff in it. Next one is tyres, and I might let Kev talk about the tyres a bit more because he knows more about them. But what I will say is I want to also say tyres / tyre deflators. We've seen so many people on the side of the road with just, like, popping the valve and letting the air out. We use the Camp Boss, once again, not sponsored, but Kev just bought a set of the Camp Boss tyre deflators, and we use them every time. They're so great. Literally easy to use. Just screw them on and let them do their job and take them off. And
I reckon they're quicker than those tyre deflators that people screw on and pull the valve out and that, because we pulled up a couple of times where there's been blokes deflating their car tyres when we get there. We get out, Holly grabs two, I grab two, I do the driver's side because I'm obviously sitting that side, and she does the passenger side, and within, I don't know,
not even 3
minutes?
Nah, I was going to say a minute and a half, they'd be done.
Yeah.
By the time, not screw on time,
not
like actual
time,
deflating time,
Yeah, and they stop themselves, so you just screw it on, it stops, you unscrew it, put your cap on, and then drive.
Yeah.
But yeah, tyres. Obviously, you don't have to go out and spend $600 a tyre on bloody, whatever you want. There is a lot of shaly rock and, riverbeds.
Mud.
Not so much mud. I'm talking more so like if you're prone to flat tyres sort of thing. Like you really don't want to be driving somewhere like this with no reception, and you're pulling up to camp, you get out and then realise that your tyre's slowly going down because rocks punctured it or something. You want something it's highly recommended, and I don't know. It's completely up to you at the end of the day. You can spend your money on whatever you want, but I'm just saying good tyres definitely, put your mind at ease when you're pulling up somewhere.
Definitely, and I think we definitely could have gone cheaper with ours. That was a little bit my fault with the rims. I got a little bit starstruck and just wanted those rims, so we spent a little bit more on them. But tyres in itself, they're the only thing that connects you to the road. My nana once told me this, and I know she'll be watching, but tyres are worth the money. They are the only thing that connect you to the road, and if you don't have a good set of tyres, it can be really dangerous. So spend the money on your tyres. Don't get cheap stuff. Get the good stuff for the tyres at least. You just can't put a price on your safety, so definitely go with that. To be honest, I'm going to let Kev talk about clearance too, because I have no idea what he's got in there for clearance. I know that he's got superior stuff, but I don't really know what it is, so do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, obviously, this is to suit our car. Like, if you got a van, you're not going to be going to half of these places that we are right now, so... But if you're obviously travelling in Australia and you want to get to some of these more remote places, then you definitely need at least a 2-inch lift kit, I'm going to say, or bigger tyres at least, but then to put bigger tyres on, you're going to need a lift kit regardless. So there's just, I don't know, there's rocks everywhere, there's washouts everywhere, there's idiots making ruts in sand everywhere because they just keep it in 2-wheel drive and try and go up a hill just to be cool. So if you look at doing stuff like this, you definitely need at least a 2-inch lift kit.
And then the last one that we have on there is our winch. So we tossed up between the Runvar 13XP and also the Roadrunner winch as well. So I actually paid Roadrunner a visit. I spoke to Kev about this and we ummed and ahed. We knew that we needed to get a really good winch, so getting a cheaper one of those cheap winches was just not an option for us with the stuff that we're going to do. So we spoke about the winches and Kev said, look, it's a lot of money on the Runvar. Maybe we go and have a chat to Roadrunner and just see, because we trust the blokes at Roadrunner. They're really good to talk to. So I actually went in there and had a talk to them and said, look, we're looking at the two winches. We've heard really good things about the 13XP and the Roadrunner winch. And I honestly don't think that they were being biased, but they did say that their winch does exactly the same things as the 13XP. They also sold the 13XP, so he could have told me to get that and made more money, but I honestly don't think it was a biased opinion. He seemed to know what he was talking about and said that they've had the same reviews from the Roadrunner winch, so that's what we decided to go with, just because it was a little bit cheaper. We haven't really used it, so we can't comment on how it goes. We'll come back to you after the tally track.
I think it's a similar design as the 13XP. Like, they brought it out for competition with the 13XP. The Runver one is obviously £13,000. That's what it's rated to pull-wise. And the Roadrunner is £12,500. So it's £500 difference, which is, I'm not going to need that. But we also had a 13XP on my old car, the Triton, and I couldn't fault it. They were a great winch. They were quick. They were the quickest low mount that you could buy, I reckon, at that stage, because everyone just started getting into the King's winches and that, and they were so slow. Pretty sure they got a 6 horsepower motor, same as these Roadrunner ones. I'm pretty sure though the gear ratio on these Roadrunner ones are a little bit different, so they're slightly quicker. I'm not too sure, but yeah, I just compared the two when I was looking at them online, and I think that was quicker.
Yeah, definitely worth having. And the only trouble that we've had is our handheld remote is being a bit dicky, but
Yeah,
that's
but I
getting
think
sorted out.
from the corrugations, the receiver inside the control boxes might have, I don't know, disconnected or broken a wire or something, because we have been down some pretty heavy going roads. But yeah, that was the last one. But I did think of one when we were talking about tyre deflators. If you're going to be deflating your tyres, you're going to need a compressor, pump them back up naturally. And we have the ARB twin motor or twin piston compressor, I think they call it. You can get a single one or you can get the twin one. I think it was about $700 or $650 at the Melbourne four-wheel drive show. I think I paid for it. And yeah, you pull up once you're done four-wheel driving or driving on the sand, or even just for a little bit of comfort, you've deflated your tyres, you pull up somewhere, you can pump them up. I reckon it takes us probably, I don't know, probably 2 minutes a tyre. Yeah, about 8 minutes all up. But yeah,
it's not the quickest
you
thing,
don't
but
have to
it's-
buy an ARB one. I'm just saying you definitely, if you're going to be deflating your tyres, you're going to want an air compressor to pump them up. You don't want to be trying to find a servo and limping it on the bitumen back to a servo just to pump them up.
Or having to make that decision, like, oh, I don't really want to deflate them because there's nowhere to put them up. And
then you get stuck.
Then
and
something happens.
Yeah.
And I think, too, just on the back of that, I know we said 15 things, so we'll have to just do 15 plus a few. We didn't say about the GME radio. I think that's really important, especially when you're going off-grid.
Yeah, just a radio.
You need to have a UHF. One that has the ability to cover a fair distance in case you need it. We don't carry flares or anything like that. We don't have one of those.
E-perps.
What's that special thing called?
I think they call it an e-perp.
Yeah, right. We
Sure.
don't have one of those.
Boat on there.
And
Or a satellite phone.
yeah, we talked about getting one before we left, and not to be arrogant, but we sort of do this stuff a fair bit at home. Like, we're not new to four-wheel driving or anything like that. New to sand driving, so that's why that mishap happened at the start. But this stuff we do all the time. So, you know, we feel like we know a little bit what we're doing when it comes to that. So we thought we would be okay, which we have been, touch wood. But yeah, a UHF, like, it's really important to be able to communicate when you have no service if something does happen. There's a couple camped probably, well, I'd say 2 kilometres down the track from here. Our UHF would reach them if we needed it to. So, yeah, it's just really important to make sure that you have something to communicate if needed. So
it's good on highways as well. Like,
truckies
will let you know when you can pass them if they're in a road train. Well, if you're on the truckie channel, you can listen for oversized loads with road shuts and all that. So I just get amusement out of it half the time because there's some good bickering arguments on there. So yeah.
But anyway, I think that's sort of it. There's definitely more things, but like I said, this is just things that we're trying to think that you couldn't go without. So, you know, there's definitely things like your phones or your cameras or my recording stuff or drones, but you don't have to have that to have a good time. Like, yes, we've got it to record all of this for ourselves to look back on and our family and friends to look at, and for you guys that are watching. Pardon me, that we're so grateful. Like I said, we only thought that this would be small. It was just for our friends and family to sort of watch, and we're very grateful. I think there's nearly 400 subscribers now, which is, like, it's not huge. We're not, like, this is a tiny channel, but just incredible considering that we thought we'd maybe have like 50. So yeah, very grateful for those that are watching and commenting and liking and sharing and subscribing to our channel. But yeah, definitely don't need that sort of stuff. We're just trying to think of stuff that yeah, you can't go without. So with that being said, we might leave it there. We need to make our way down to our next campsite tonight.
Yeah.
And yeah, this gorge behind us is absolutely beautiful. All right. So as always, if you like our content, please like, share and subscribe. And yeah, if you want to see more of these types of videos, we've had a few people ask us to do a Q&A. So let us know in the comments if that's something that you guys would be interested in, asking us some questions and having us answer them. Kev doesn't want to, but I'm keen.
I hate camera time.
But no, you don't.
Yeah. Unless it's something funny or cool.
When we left, Kev would not get behind the camera, and now
so
you guys have seen it for yourselves. I barely get this thing. He's always on it.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I feel, I don't know, I pull up in a spot
it.
like this and I get excited. I'm like, wow, everyone needs to see this. So.
Yeah. But yeah, if you want to see anything like that, if you like these different types of videos or these different styles, let us know. If there's something that you've seen someone else do and you're curious on our perspective, or if you're not, let us know. But yeah, we hope you have a wonderful day. We hope you like the extra video, and we'll see you there.
And everything I say is a joke, so
yeah.
don't get offended.